Joining us, Vasudha and I this evening, Congress MP from Shivaganga, Karti Chidambaram, who has spearheaded this issue doggedly, if I may say so. Karti, this is not a laughing issue at all. It is really one which has multiple dimensions in a country that's getting highly urbanized. What are the key concerns from a national policy point of view on this issue, and is it being taken seriously?
This is not a laughing matter. This is a very serious issue. It's a real issue which is occurring every single day in every nook and corner of India. Not just in urban India, but also in rural India. The number of stray dogs in our streets is increasing, disproportionately. And we have no policy, neither do we have the resources or the wherewithal to deal with this. I mean, local bodies are supposed to deal with it, and local bodies in most cases do not have the funds and don't have the expertise to deal with it. And they are all straddled with an antiquated ABC policy, the animal birth control policy, which they can't implement. Because in order to implement the animal birth control policy, you must capture the female dogs, and then you must, perform the surgery and keep them in a safe place for 5 days, then let them back on street. But that is a failed policy. There is no infrastructure to do that. And secondly, no developed country has got a street and stray cattle problem. We can't be aspiring to be a global power. We can't be aspiring to be one of the top economies in the world. We can't be aspiring to command respect in the world. And we can't be aspiring to have a great number of tourists come into our country when we have a stray dog problem. It's not just about India's image. It's a health and safety issue. I mean, the number of people who are getting bitten by stray dogs is a lot every single day. The numbers are staggering. And the number of rabies deaths, we have the highest number of rabies deaths in India. So what we really need to sort this out is not localized solutions, because the local bodies won't come up with any solutions. They are completely, short of funds. We need a national policy, an ethical policy, and humane policy by which we need to build, dog shelters, which has to be funded either through whichever branch of the government. And dogs must be removed from the streets and sent to these centers. They must be housed there. And then they must be neutered and sterilized there. And if people feel strongly for them, they should adopt them. Dogs are not meant to roam. They are not meant to be in a free roaming state in the streets. In no developed country do we find this. So, we have to deal with this in a very humane manner. We must also deal with it in a systematic manner. And people who want to adopt them must be encouraged to adopt them. There should be no dog which is roaming in the streets. There should be no dog which does not have a collar. There should be no dog which is not sterilized, and no dog which is not vaccinated. Right. That has to happen. And, if people feel very strongly about it, they should adopt them. And this business of keeping dogs in a free roaming state in the streets is completely unacceptable. And it's a health and safety hazard. And nobody takes responsibility for this. I've been voicing this as much as I possibly can.
Right, Karti, so that's a very comprehensive solution that you've recommended. But what really triggered you to take up this issue? Was there a personal matter? Because I remember meeting you in the parliament. You, in fact, also met the Prime Minister and spoke about this.
And first of all, I like dogs very much. I myself have dogs at home, and they're very dear to me. But the point is, I find that there are ease of living urban issues which nobody highlights. So I like to pick on issues which does not necessarily constitute a vote bank. That is why I speak about gig workers. That is why I speak about online education. That is why I speak about gold loans. That is why I speak about KYC. That is why I speak about street dogs. Because I tend to pick on issues which affect common people, but who don't constitute a group and who become an effective vote bank. I'd like to speak for a large number of people who are not organized vote banks.
Karti, on the one side is this, there are multiple dimensions to the problem that we are speaking in terms of dog menace. One is dealing with it in a humane manner, but often we find strong fights, arguments, may I say barking in gated communities, between neighbors, and in residential colonies over this. Have we really failed to take this seriously, as seriously it should be?
Not seriously at all, because the people who are affected are the people who walk to work, who walk from school, and not the people in cars, not people who live in gated communities with high security walls. It's the people on the streets, in villages, in towns, and in the gullies and in the narrow streets of our country. That's where they're affected the most. And the behavior of these dogs is also changing. because they are in packs now, they also behave very differently and much more aggressively. And every day we are hearing cases of people getting bitten. Even in my own constituency, one part of my constituency covers is part of Pudukkottai district. Even there, you would see on a monthly basis a staggering amount. The Tamil Nadu government has put out the numbers. It's of lakhs of people are getting bitten by dogs every day, and then people. There is a lack of rabies by vaccine, and some PHCs is leading to deaths. Expiry of rabies vaccines is leading to death. We are the largest importer of rabies vaccines in the world. We have the maximum number of rabies deaths. So we don't. See, you can't football this. You see, what happens in Delhi is the animal husbandry ministry does not take responsibility for it. The health ministry does not take responsibility for it, because nobody is responsible for this problem.
Right.
And that is why I took it up to the Prime Minister. I urged the Prime Minister to form a national task force which will lay out the procedure to deal with this. And the way is, you must build shelters, remove the dogs, house them humanely, you neuter them or sterilize them, and encourage people to adopt them and keep them in their private homes with collars and with the proper papers and certificates. You can't have dogs in a free roaming state in the streets of India.
Thanks very much, Karti Chidambaram from Shivaganga, for, may I say, doggedly making those points here on the Southern View.
No pun intended in the dogged, I guess.
No pun intended at all. That's Karti Chidambaram there.